College football week 2 continues on Saturday. Whole slate of games on Saturday. I have picks that I'm going to give you for 7 of them. I think they're the best. There might be 8. We'll start with 7. First up, UAB at Coastal Carolina. UAB is minus 9.5 in this game. Now, last week I went against Coastal Carolina. I took South Carolina. South Carolina won. That was more of picking on Coastal Carolina. The defense is not necessarily the best. I mean, they gave up 557 total yards to South Carolina, 294 through the air, 263 on the ground, and 32 first downs. I mean, that's like I said again, TCU SMU game, and that's potent offense right there that South Carolina put together. Just poor performance by the Coastal Carolina defense. Now, that's nothing new. That's a carryover from the previous years. Coastal Carolina is just a bit outclassed. UAB, I'm excited about this UAB team this year. They surprised a lot of people last year. They made it to the bowl game first year back after suspending the program. They're doing a great job. They got a lot of good guys down there. They made it to the bowl. They got the 15 extra practices, and they came out in week 1, and it was an FCS opponent, but they just absolutely laid the wood to that team. We're talking 548 yards of total offense, 263 through the air, 285 on the ground, 36 first downs, didn't give up a single sack. The defense was just as dominant. Talking 178 yards allowed, only 23 passing yards, 155. They did give up 155 rushing yards, but at this point in time, that was mostly second half. That's garbage time. The game was out of control there already anyway. Second, the backup guys are in, getting the reps, right? Getting some experience, so you can build up that experience for the 2 deep, right? These guys that are your playmakers now, they're not going to be around here forever. So yeah, you have to get experience in your 2 deep when you can. Looks like they did that, gave up some yards. Coastal Carolina's offense, they put up similar numbers to what UAB allowed, a little bit better. 243 total yards, 112 through the air, 131 on the ground. So it looks like they, balanced. Not a balanced attack. It was not a great attack, but they did get 20 first down, so they matriculated. They made some plays. I know they missed a field goal or 2, maybe. I think it was only 1, but the other thing, Coastal Carolina, get the South Carolina game. It was a tough physical game. This against an SEC school, they got beat up. UAB, they're going to be another physical power attack team. UAB's should get their offense should hit what Coastal Carolina allowed last week against South Carolina. I don't just because of that extra recovery time. Whenever you play a better opponent that's very physical, much stronger physical, your recovery time takes a bit longer, and I feel like Coastal Carolina is going to have some setbacks this week, and the UAB running offense should just chug right along. So we're going to take UAB minus 9.5, minus 10 is fine. I think anything under 2 touchdowns here is a play. So UAB, anything under minus 14. The next pick in week 2, heading to the Big Ten. You got Rutgers traveling to Ohio State, and Ohio State laying the heavy chalk, minus 35. Ow, 5 touchdowns. That's a lot, but that's all right. Go ahead and you lay them. Rutgers isn't a very good team. Yeah, they got a win week 1 against Texas State, 35-7, but Texas State is like the worst FBS team that there is. There's FCS schools that are better than Texas State, so don't read in between the lines there. Don't give Rutgers too much credit. Ohio State is 4-0 since Rutgers joined the Big Ten. And that's the last 4 years. The combined score of those 4 games is Ohio State 219-24. That's an average of 55-6. And there has been a few 56-0 years in there, so nothing surprising there. Rutgers, true freshman quarterback, it's his first road start. It's a hostile territory. Ohio State is. The Horseshoe is a very difficult place to play. Even big good teams like Michigan State, Penn State, they go into the Horseshoe and they struggle with that crowd. So how is a guy from Rutgers team? They don't play in front of 100,000 people hardly ever. How are they going to handle it? I don't think they'll do it well. OSU looked fine without Urban Meyer out the gate. They had 53 rushing attempts for 375 yards last week against Oregon State. That's a lot. 53 rushing attempts. I mean, you got the two-headed monster and J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber out there. That's enough for me. I mean, I don't know what else I need to say about this game. I mean, it's Ohio State all the way. Rutgers, they're outclassed. They're out athletic. They're out everything. You gotta lay the heavy chalk. Don't be afraid to lay the heavy chalk. This is a 56-0 game. Ohio State minus 35. College football week 2 continues with Duke at Northwestern. Northwestern is currently laying a field goal right now. And I say you got to jump on these points. You got to get Duke in as many points as you possibly can. I got a feeling that this line is going to move towards the other way. So you got to get the 3 right now while you can. Northwestern, yes, I backed Northwestern last week. I took the points and against Purdue. And yes, didn't even need the points. Northwestern won outright. But it's how they won that makes me nervous because they won't be able to sustain. How they won against Purdue is not sustainable for continued success. You cannot continue to rely on turnovers and to win the turnover battle to win your games each week. Northwestern was outgained. Purdue had 472 yards of total offense last week. Yes, Northwestern had 401, but they allowed 472 total yards, 202 yards rushing. How you can't win consistently if you're giving up 202 yards rushing. Now, Purdue's wasn't expected. They're not known for their rushing yards. They do have some playmakers there, but not expecting them to put up 200 yards rushing. Now, Northwestern won the game because they were +3 in the turnover margin. That's right. They were +3. So they couldn't stop the run, or they couldn't stop the pass for that matter, seeing as how they had 270 yards of passing. But they won the turnover battle, and that's why they were able to escape with the win. So that's not sustainable, and the fact that they can't stop the run and they can't stop anything on defense really leads me to believe that you want to take points against this team if you can get them. Duke put in a solid performance against Army in week 1. They have experience at skill positions, and they have very capable, powerful offense. There were some question marks around the offensive line that I had going into week 1, and that's why I kind of backed off of them against this Army game. Should have hopped on them, should have made them a play. They did 381 total yards of offense, and it was evenly split, 197 through the air, 184 on the ground. So putting up the yards against this Northwestern defense shouldn't be an issue. They should be able to hit at least 400. Anytime that you can get 400 yards, you should be able to keep the score close. So you should lock this in now. Duke +3, Duke +3 at Northwestern. For the next pick in week 2, going to the Big 12, taking on Conference USA. That's right, Baylor -15 at UTSA. Now, I know Baylor, they were terrible last year. It's an overreaction. They had a lot of bad things happen to Baylor last year, and it wasn't necessarily because of performance on the football team. There's a lot of negativity around that program, and I get it. I understand if you don't want to bet on this team, if you have a moral code against it, but you know what? I like making money, and this is an opportunity to make money right here, so I'm going to hit the shit out this motherfucker. That's right, Baylor -15 at UTSA. Look, Baylor wants revenge for last year. There's no doubt about that. UTSA went into their house. Small Conference USA team, week 1, came into my house. I'm a Big 12 team, my house, and they beat me. They beat me. You better believe I want to go into their house the next year and just kick the shit out of them. I want to show them who it was that they thought that they were messing with last year, that it was a fluke, that I had a bad year, and I got a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm upset about it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to fix it. I mean, UTSA last week against Arizona State, the offense only had 220 yards. 2 yards rushing. UTSA only had 2 yards rushing. The defense gave up 503 yards, 237 through the air, 266 on the ground. So that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, Baylor's offense had 606 yards last week. Pretty good indication, strong offense coming in against a defense that can't stop anybody. So I don't see Baylor's offense falling off. Now Baylor's defense did give up a lot of yards, 466, but That's okay. I mean, that was against a much better team than what UTSA is. Um, UTSA's offense 220, 2 yards rushing. I can't believe that 2 yards rushing. Baylor's got 17 returning starters, 86 offensive line starts, so they got a lot of experience. Looking at all the power ratings, if you look at my matchups there, the computer absolutely loves this. They say it should be closer to 21 points. Here, you get it close to 2 touchdowns. Yeah, it would be great if it was minus 14. If you could have got this when it first opened, when it was below 2 touchdowns, good for you. But it's still, I think it's still a play right now. I agree with computers. Anything under minus 21 is a play. I mean, 3 scores is 3 scores. 17 or less is a mega play. 21 or less is a play. So Baylor minus 15 at UTSA.